Hi, my name is Joanne Chang, and I am the pastry chef and co-owner of Flour Bakery in Boston. We're here in my production kitchen, and we are gearing up for a really busy Thanksgiving. I know all of you are kind of wondering what you're going to be enjoying on Thursday, and what I would love to do is teach you how to make your own pull-apart rolls. Sure, you can buy rolls from a bakery like ours or in the grocery store, but you'll soon see how easy it is to make these beautiful, delicious pull-apart rolls that are brushed with an herbed butter, a homemade herbed butter. It really couldn't be easier. Actually, before we even go in, I'm gonna try one because I'm curious. You can see this really beautiful crumb. Delicious. So we start with this homemade bread dough. So this dough has been made with a starter that has milk and a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and some yeast. It sits overnight, and then we make the dough with whole wheat flour, Corazon flour, and then more milk, some butter, and some egg yolks. We let it proof overnight, and then we actually measure out the rolls individually. These are each about 100 grams each. 100 grams is maybe around 3.5 ounces. So you get a nice sized roll with every package. So we're gonna do about 6 rolls per container. And I'm measuring them out to make sure they're all about the same size. And this is the fun part. So I'm gonna show you with just one hand. What you do is you take the dough and you put it in the palm of your hand and put it down on the table. And then you're going to use the friction of the table and move the dough around and around until you get a nice, beautiful ball. And you can see that the dough is smooth and then it's all gathered on the bottom. And this is what's going to give you a really nice crumb inside. So that's going to go straight into this tin. And again, you just use the friction of the table and you kind of cup the dough in your hand as you move it around and around. And by doing that, you give the dough some structure so that when it bakes really evenly, and then the crumb inside is really nice and tight. So we do 6 per. And I arrange them here in this little bundt pan, very nifty. Now the dough needs to rest. So the dough has some yeast in it and a sponge, which is a natural starter. And it's gonna sit for about 2.5 hours at room temperature. And during this time, the yeast is going to expand and help the dough become really nice, light, and airy. So rather than make you wait 3 hours, I went ahead and I shaped some, and you can see the difference. So you can see how the rolls now have a lot of air, and if you could feel them, they're really poofy inside. And this is because all of the yeasts have done their work, and now the inside of the dough is light and ready to go into the oven. So we're gonna put this in a 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes. So we have all of these ovens over here that you can see. So I went ahead and baked some so that you can see what they look like when they come out of the oven. So these came out about 20 minutes ago, and they're really beautiful. And now they're just missing the final piece, which is some homemade herbed butter. The way we make this butter is we take some fresh rosemary. So I'm just gonna make a little bit right now for this one bundt pan. And I'm just gonna chop the rosemary really, really fine. You don't want really big pieces, and rosemary is pretty strong, so make sure you chop it nice and fine. So we have a little bit of fresh rosemary. It's gonna go into our bowl. And then we actually use dried thyme. We tried fresh thyme and it was really, really strong. And so we like the flavor that the dried thyme gives us. So we just add a little bit of dried thyme. And then we have some softened butter. and then we mix it. And if you make this ahead of time, in fact, you could make it today for Thanksgiving, it'll give the butter some time to really pick up all of that great herb flavor. That's all there is to making a beautiful fresh herbed butter. So simple, and it adds such a nice touch. So with these warm rolls, I'm just going to take the butter and brush it on top. And then I am going to use an offset just to help me get the butter on all of the sides. So if you wait until the rolls are warm but not too warm, it'll stay, it won't melt all the way, and then you'll have this little coating of butter so that when people grab their pull-apart rolls, they'll have a little bit of butter. And then we also have some more to serve alongside if you want to add more butter. So that's all it takes to make some homemade pull-apart rolls for Thanksgiving. You'll be rewarded with really fresh, delicious, beautiful rolls. So I encourage you to try to make these at home.